Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. The third Ava rebuild film. The one I hate. The one I purport to hate. The one a lot of people purport to hate. The bad one. The worst thing I ever saw. The bad Evangelion. We've rewatched it now. We are here to talk about it. Miller's talking in chat. We are, of course, still live. This is the third one. I haven't uploaded any of them yet as of recording this, but the first talking about should be uploaded by the time we do the fourth stream. I wonder who's going to show up for the fourth stream. By the time you're hearing this on YouTube, though, there's not much hope in me telling you, come over and see it, because it's probably already been done. But this movie was real good, I guess. Some of it was good. I was just talking about this in chat. I'll use the same fucking analogy. The first 30 minutes of this film is probably pretty bad. The middle 30 minutes is a little slow, a little boring, but I like all the stuff that happens. The last half an hour, I really like of this movie. Sort of you split it into threes here. And I have no idea what to rate it. I gave the first one 4 stars. I gave the second one 5 stars. I feel like the best parts of this movie, which is probably about half of the movie, is probably 5 stars. I like it a lot. I like all the character stuff. It's just some of that beginning part is like, I haven't got mad at anything in a long time. I haven't been like, this is bad. But like, they spend 15 minutes launching this fucking ship with Misato and the gang, and it's just like not good. And I don't know. We're going to go all into it when we go down our tweet thread. I don't have a lot of tweets for the last half an hour of the movie because I was kind of glued to the screen. That's when a lot of the complicated shit happened. So we're going to have to ask chat to help us out. So hopefully they remember it. That half of the AV preview doesn't have Miller saying welcome to a review. What do you like about the ending? That's when I got overwhelmed and don't remember much. We'll talk about all that when we get to it, I think. The title of the video should be Evangelion 3.0. You cannot guess my rating. Not really a good idea. I've already done all the thumbnails, alright? At right now, I guess we just give it 4 stars and see if it creeps up to 4.5. Hopefully we digest our thoughts a little better, digest the movie a little better as I go through and talk about all this stuff. I guess we just jump into it. Do I want to say anything else generally? A lot of the criticism, we should talk about it generally a little bit. A lot of the criticisms of this movie, firstly, there's the 14-year time skip, which is very controversial. I think it's fine. I don't think anything particularly important has been missed. Like, in the 14 years, it seems like they've made some more Avas. They've built Willy, or whatever it's called, the company that Misato runs. It's Willy. Like, things have happened in the last 14 years, but it feels like nothing can happen without Shinji. And I don't know why Shinji hasn't been around for 14 years. They say he was in Ava Unit 1, but Ava Unit 1 is also being used to power this ship. So was it in the ship the whole time? Was he in the ship? Then why is he in space at the beginning of the movie? I'm not sure. None of that really matters. At least not to me. But most of the criticisms come from the fact, the big one that I always was hung up with was the fact that, like, 14 years has passed, but, like, specifically Asuka hadn't changed at all. And this is just not true. Asuka is pretty different in this movie. She's not as childish as she usually is. It feels like she has grown up a little bit. Because obviously the Curse of the Ava is a big meme. That Asuka's still 14, because of course she is. And Shinji's still 14, and Rei still looks 14. Mari's still 16, or however old she is. Because it's implied that the Curse of the Ava means that the Evangelion pilots can't age after they become pilots. Kind of stupid, I guess. But it's not a universe-breaking thing. Because I used to think, oh, and also Asuka didn't grow up at all, and Rei didn't change, and Shinji didn't change. Well, Shinji hasn't been conscious for 14 years, presumably. Presumably this is a new Rei, and Asuka has changed. And Mari is still the same, but I don't know. She seemed like a fully formed person before the 14-year time skip. So I think all of that is not really a good criticism of the movie at all. It is boring in parts. That's another big criticism. It does feel like not a lot is happening in parts, and in the end it just explodes with things happening. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. And notoriously I've been shitting on this thing every stream for the last fucking 3 years, so I guess we get into it. I even think it looks good. I thought all the action looked good, and I know that's a big complaint too, that the CGI looks terrible, but I thought generally it looked all good. Oh wait, you're still using that letter something site, unexpected millers, Anne is saying. Do you agree with people saying it's meant to be confusing and overwhelming because you're in Shinji's shoes? It definitely is. That's obviously the intention. It kind of sucks though. So it's kind of like, I get the intention, but it's kind of bad. But then it isn't that bad at the end. Shinji, people like to frame this movie a lot of Shinji being the victim, because at the beginning everybody's staring at Shinji and saying, Shinji, you're a fucking idiot. And Shinji has no idea why. And the audience kind of has no idea why. And that is shitty. But Shinji is really shitty throughout this movie as well. Like, he literally pulls the lances out at the end when everybody is telling him not to, just because he's like deluded himself into thinking he can fix everything he fucked up by doing this. Like, Shinji is being an idiot. And this is another point. I talk about this in my tweets later on, but I feel like the rebuilds map onto the original series really well, in certain aspects, in the fact that the first movie is kind of the first 6 episodes in terms of Shinji's development. Of sort of, there are four like parts of Shinji's development that are broken into these films. And they sort of rearrange when the third impact happens. So to make you think like a lot of shit's changed, but it's really just the same journey. Shinji at the beginning, he has no reason to live. He just wants validation from his father. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of lost in the world. And he finds friends with Misato, and then he likes to help out Rei. That's all in the first bit, and that's what the first movie and like the first 6 episodes is. The second bit is Asuka's introduction, and him slowly succeeding. He starts to become a really good Eva pilot. His bond with Rei continues to grow. His bond with Asuka begins to grow. His bond with Misato continues to grow. Kaji shows up. He becomes friendly with Kaji. Kaji teaches him some things. There's the scene in the original series of them lying in bed talking to each other. Separate beds, I'm pretty sure. And like the watermelon stuff and all that. And in that second part is when Shinji succeeds, but then he succeeds so well that it starts to affect Asuka negatively, and she gets shitty, and he ends up he refuses to kill the Choji. Basically, it's Asuka in the movies, and then he turns against his father. And even though he was starting to get validation for being good, now he's turned against his father, and he starts to dip out, and he says, I'm not piloting the Eva. And then he realizes his responsibility that he needs to pilot the Eva. He can't just be personal and selfish, and just decide not to pilot the Ava despite his father, because other people's lives are at risk here. In the movie, it seems like Asuka and Rei could die if he doesn't do it, so he has to run back. Amari too. This covers like 10 episodes, or maybe even like 12 or 13 episodes of the original series, because there's a bunch of episodic fun stuff in there to get you more acquainted with the characters, to get Shinji's relationship with the characters more fleshed out. But generally it gets to this point, and that's the point where the Ava goes berserk afterwards. And then the third part, which is what this movie is basically about, and is where Kaoru comes into play, is Shinji having nothing. All his friends have either abandoned him or he's abandoned them, and he has nothing, and then Kaoru shows up and sort of gives him all the validation he's ever wanted, and then he loses Kaoru and becomes completely immobile. And then the fourth part would be what the end of Ava is. At the beginning of the end of Ava, Shinji is very depressed about what happened to Kaoru. He's not moving. He has to be dragged places. And at the end of this movie, and I presume in the next film, Shinji is in that place again, and he has to slowly learn again that things are worth living for, even if bad shit happens to you. And these things sort of map. And now the movie switch it up by having the third impact happen at the end of the second part of this journey. But like, if you notice, all the beats come together in the same fashion. Like, he is lonely in the third beat, even though in the movies, even though the third impact has already happened because nobody wants to tell him anything. There's this 14-year time skip. He doesn't know what's going on. Ray 3 is here now. Ray 2 is gone at the end of part 2. And so Karu is the only person he has. And then Karu ends up dying. And it all maps if you think about it that way. There's a better way to explain that than what I just did, but I'm just sort of softballing it here. It could be a clever video. But yeah, I gotta read the rest of the chat before we even start getting into the tweets. These reviews are always like more than an hour long. You know what to expect. I like the time skip after seeing the cool effects that you find out in 3.0 plus 1.0. Well, there we go. Why is there a penguin among the Ava cast? Don't shit talk Pen Pen. He's a king. I guess it's a he? Pen Pen's a bloke, right? Like, you don't see the best effects of the time skip in 3.0. Misato has new clothes, Risako has bad hair. It's not as bad as I remember it being. It's still pretty bad. Gendo has a sci-fi visor. That was some stupid shit. There is more sci-fi shit in 3.0, definitely. Like the death thing that Misato has for Shinji has like a hologram pointing out of it. You see so much more cool stuff in 3.0 plus 1.0. Well, I look forward. Oh, so that's what the Curse of Ava refers to. I thought it refers to something else. It might also refer to something else, but I don't know about it yet. Random explosions are pretty based, though. Would I get a reward by understanding the Ava finale on my first watch if I were to watch it? I mean, I guess. Have you seen the rest of Ava? Nope, I still haven't watched any of it. Well, there you go. Let's get into the notes, then. All right, here we go. Evangelion Rebuild 3.33 notes. I wonder if for the next film I should just watch it all, especially since it's not a rewatch. I should just watch it all and not take any notes at all, and not tweet about it at all so it's a surprise when I do the stream. Maybe I'll do like one tweet afterwards and say good or bad. The way things are tracking, I will almost certainly like this movie, I think. Miller was talking about how he didn't know if I would like them, but that was more off the basis that I hate the movies and that I might like the fourth one, but now I like all the movies. So it's becoming my motto now that I don't dislike anything, and I'm fine with it. The opening 30 minutes of this movie, though. The opening battle actually looks good. Looks kind of good, I guess. It's not exactly engaging. It's interesting in what it establishes. We are fighting in space now. Mari and Asuka are working together. Asuka is back on her feet with an eye patch. Mari is using Unit 8. It is kind of interesting, like, obviously, there's kind of a genius to doing time skips, and sort of, like, Mad Men or Broadwalk Empire or The Sopranos always used to do this at the beginning of new seasons, and obviously One Piece, Naruto, a bunch of shonens have time skips too, and how you sort of drip feed information to the audience about where the characters are at now. And this obviously happens in sequels to movies too. It's just a very clever way of, like, people are like, oh, what's changed in the time? And, like, you always start with the thing they don't care about the most, but something they kind of care about. So Asuka and Mari are sort of that the thing you kind of care about but don't care about the most, like wanting to know what happened to Rei and Shinji at the end of the first movie. It's just clever how these are always done, and how you can sort of establish things, and everything seems interesting because you just want to know everything that's happened since then. And denying that is part of the, like, genius here. Or the genius to time skips. But it is established we can fight in space now. Mari and Asuka are now together. Did they even meet in the last movie? I don't know if they did. Asuka is back on her feet. She was, like, in an intensive coma or whatever last time we saw her. And Mari now has Unit 8, which is a new Ava unit. So it's like, oh, noticing all these things. So they were achieving Shinji, and Asuka wanted him to do something. It wasn't an angel they were fighting, but a defensive mechanism made by nerve or something. I wonder if, like, Gendo... No, because it's implied that Shinji was in the fucking robot for the last 14 years or something. My thinking at the beginning was, like, maybe Gendo had Shinji and, like, he was in a coma or something that he hadn't woken up from yet, so to keep him safe and not so he wouldn't get stolen by Misato, he put him into, like, lower Earth orbit or something to keep him safe. I was racking my brain to try and figure out what the fuck was going on. But I guess that's not true. Everybody is really, really mad at Shinji. You can tell because of the way they are staring at him. Also, they call what happened the near third impact. Both Misato and Ritsuko's character designs are not to my liking. Misato looks good when she doesn't have the shitty glasses on, I guess. I don't know. The old Misato designs, they're all fucking 10 out of 10s. This one certainly isn't. Gross. There's something they call it the near third impact here, and then they say that again later, but then Karu says it just was the third impact, and then it's also implied later that it was just the third impact. I'm not sure what was happening. But also at the end, in the Ava graveyard thing, Lilith has been stabbed or held down by 2 lances. And so was there an event after the end of the second movie where they say it's Lilith, right? Where Lilith activated the third impact. Maybe this is a twist later on, and they're trying to tell Shinji he was responsible for it, but he actually wasn't. Though I guess that would kind of go against the whole point of the movie and thematically kind of what it's getting at. I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter to the character drama stuff, so I don't know. I'm sure the answer's in there somewhere. We're getting a lot of machine porn instead of city porn in this movie. I swear to God, there was a full minute of them cutting to the different parts of the components of this fucking ship C thing that turns into the flying thing without Misato and Willie or Wiley or Willie are on, whatever the institution is called. I know, it was kind of cool, but it went on for a long time, and then we get all the other shit. There's a few character designs that they are throwing at you, I meant. I assume the nurse one is Toji's sister, which was true. There's the pink-haired girl that's from Razafan. There's this chief girl with short hair who says she can't understand young men. This might be the girl from Nerve. I put this together after I sent this tweet because she's talking about young men like she's older. So was the glasses dude around too? Were all 3 of them? Isn't the glasses dude the one that was in love with Misato? So wouldn't it make more sense that he followed her over? I don't know. Maybe I missed him. There's also the black girl. She's seemingly the lead pilot or something of this thing. There's a bunch of character designs here that I think you're supposed to take note of something characters they were going to explore in the 4th movie. I wonder if they do or not. The pink-haired girl from Razafan, I swear to God, looks like the pink-haired girl from Razafan. She was much more cutesy than that girl. I remember that girl was kind of a Rei character where she had no emotions, but she really wanted to fuck the main character. We got to get back on Razafan. It was just Evangelion, but even more convoluted and crazy, and I was totally for it. That's one of the scenes I vehemently remember when they get on the ship after he's taken away from his mother, because it's the mother, not the father, is the Gendo in Razafan. See? We're going on crazy, different directions here. Man, now I'm thinking about Razafan and how cool it is and how I still haven't seen the whole thing. God damn it. There's the fat bald dude. Can't forget about him. He's the only. He mentions Kaji in this film. Kaji's not in this film at all. He was in the preview at the end of the last film. But he says, she's even a better commander than Kaji said. So it's implied that some of the crew are here because they're Kaji's men. And he told them to be loyal to Misato or something. That was a cool little detail. She's kind of mean. I like her. I'm talking about the short-haired girl. Maybe that's the girl from Nerve. I'm not entirely sure. She kind of looks like her, I guess. She also has short hair, though the hair seemed to be a different color. I don't know. The other 2 are probably still with Gendo, I'm guessing. No, the guitar dude is shown later on. He has a beard now. Apparently all of Misato's crew ever does is retreat. They are insufficiently staffed, but Misato wants to make a statement of their strength and is ignoring Ritsuko and her percentages like always. Also, Ritsuko is vice captain. She deserves something in this life. Poor Ritsuko. We seem to be hitting on an old versus young cross-generational conflict theme here. Which is kind of hidden again with Gendo at the end, if Seilei is the generation above him. Maybe. This really didn't get explored, or maybe I missed it after this point, which actually might make the Curse of Ava thing make sense if the pilots are stuck in time in the middle of this conflict. If we were doing young versus old, what are the Ava pilots? And then we're all the same or something. Also, Shinji's reaction when he hears Misato mention Asuka's cute. Shinji at the end of the second movie thinks Asuka is probably dead. So when he finds out she's alive here and he's very happy, it was a very cute moment. I felt like I had something I wanted to stop and talk about up here. Oh, we still have the guitar nerve guy, because I wasn't counting the short-haired girl. I see. The fact that Misato's group always has to run away because Nerve is stronger than them is a neat little thing to show how this conflict has been going, but she decides to make a stand here. All fine and good, I guess. Let me read chat. Where? Them being able to go to the moon in 2.0 kinds of sets up them being so technologically advanced here. Well, I just assume they've had 14 more years to advance technology, but yeah, they are on the moon and shit in 2.0. I don't think you'll be able to contain yourself about certain things. Oh, okay. So I think we might be tweeting certain things when certain things happen. You'll definitely love it. Well, this is good. The drip feed of who the new warlords, emperors, and admiral after the time skip is so good. Talking about One Piece, of course. Ava Unit 1 is what powers Wonder. That's right, it is called Wonder. Like Wonder. It's spelled a little bit wrong, so I have no idea how Shinji got in space. A lot happened. I mean, is that the only thing that happened? It's called Near Third Impact, but they move on to the Fourth Impact and skip 3? I don't know. They definitely say that Shinji... Karu, at least, definitely says that Shinji caused the Third Impact when he tried to save Rei. And then later, I think it is Karu again, so maybe Karu's information is all fucked up, which is a plot point later on where he's got things wrong. I'm pretty sure he says Lilith made the Third Impact happen or something. I don't know. I think the only way it makes sense is that the Third Impact happened again after Karu stopped it initially somehow. Machinery porn, oh, I can tell I will enjoy this, and is into it apparently. Nerve is literally just Gendo and Fuyutsuki, right? I don't think anybody else sided with them. It seems like that, but somebody has to run repairs and shit. Nerve headquarters does seem completely abandoned. Your 4.0 thoughts are going to be interesting. Well, I'm excited. What can I say? Asuka being already onto Misato's crazy plan and being the only person down with it is neat since they became pretty close in the last one. Again, it makes sense why certain people with certain sides of this conflict, like I mentioned this last time with the Ritsuko thing, how it was clever that like Ritsuko and Misato seem to be extremely close. They haven't even... I don't even know if they've implied the Ritsuko-Gendo relationship in the rebuilds yet. I don't know if they do in the fourth one, but it seems like it makes sense why Ritsuko would obviously side with Misato. They're really close in the movies, even more so than in the original series where they are close, but Ritsuko is like always more informed on the subject than Misato all the time. And Asuka's the same way. Asuka and Misato's relationship in the original is they're close, I guess. They live together and everything, but it's never like a single episode where it's about Misato and Asuka getting along. I think I was saying Asuka that whole time. That's what I meant, Misato and Asuka. But in the movies, they have that scene when Asuka's getting changed or whatever, where they have like this heart-to-heart moment. So it makes sense why she would be already onto this crazy plan because she is crazy, just like Misato is, and they have a bond like that. Plus, Misato and Asuka having a close bond is cool. Yeah, just that conceptually is interesting. And it fits for both their characters. I feel like that's a lot of what these movies are. I feel like they are the same characters to me. They feel like the same characters. All the characters feel right. So it's sort of like an interesting, like, I guess, character study or thought experiment about what these characters would do in these scenarios, and it all feels like, yes, this is what their characters would do. We still have a strong understanding of these characters. And that's awesome. More stuff with the characters is what you could always want. All you could ever want, I think is what I was just trying to say. Oh, also, I remember a big criticism of the movie being that Misato's character had completely changed, and this is true. Misato's character has changed in the 14 years. She's clearly trying to project this, like, unkind military affront, but that's because she's in charge now. And obviously, like, deep down, she's still the same Misato because she doesn't kill Shinji when she could have to stop all the conflict happening, even after Ritsuko tells her to do it. One of the things from the end of the movie that I didn't make a note about that I want to remember is that Asuka tries to kill Shinji in this movie. She saves him at the end as well, so I think she is doing a similar thing to Misato here, where she actually couldn't do it. But, like, she, like, stabs the Unit 13 or whatever it is that Shinji has with Unit 2 and says, like, shut up and die, brat Shinji, or whatever. I was like, oh, I didn't expect Asuka to go that far. But there you go. I feel like I was hitting on a point there, and then I went on a tangent, but now I've forgotten the original point. Who could have imagined that? The Misato stuff about her being out of character. Obviously, there's a point to this. It's part of the thing. Misato is wrong at the beginning of the film for not telling Shinji everything, and she pays for that come the end, and she learns from that. It's all intended. It's not like, oh shit, Misato just changed for no reason. There's clearly an inbuilt reason. Shinji wanting to pilot to help Asuka is really cute. Is Asuka a colonel now? Is her model the priority of the objective over human lives? This is just me being stupid. There's a line where Asuka's like, and the colonel's saying is to prioritize the objective over human lives. The colonel is Misato, so this is supposed to be Misato's new motto, to be more like Gendo in this sense of, like, the objective is all that matters, it doesn't matter who dies in the process. Obviously, this is Misato probably just trying to be Gendo. She doesn't actually believe this because she doesn't kill Shinji when she has the chance. And Asuka is sort of embracing this. There's also a cool turn on this phrase that Asuka is saying this. And this was happening a lot in the second movie, where Asuka would say something that's on the face is very mean, but actually has good implications, like when she says it's the elite's duty to look after the unwashed masses or whatever, which is actually Asuka just saying that she will look out for other people. It's just her saying it with her sort of Asuka, I have to be superior flair based. But this line can also be read like that, of like, I need to prioritize the objective over my life, and it's sort of Asuka being self-sacrificing again. Because it sounds like something awful and deplorable, but if applied just to Asuka and herself, it's like actually pretty altruistic of her, at least. What the fuck is going on? This was after this I didn't make a tweet for like 15 minutes because I had to process this fucking goddamn scene. What the fuck is going on? Why did we spend 15 minutes very dramatically having a ship launch that I don't give a fuck about? It was so long. What was it even fighting? At the end, there's a mention of Kaji from the bald dude. That was more interesting than whatever the fuck I just watched was. With the attacks from these Unit 1 color-coded disc things. I guess they kind of come back, and Unit 13 uses kind of weapons like this at the end, where it's like these disc things that are shooting. I don't know. They're kind of weird and lame. I don't know how I feel about them. This was all immediately after the opening scene I similarly had no context for and didn't care about. So far, 2 boring action scenes that I guess looked cool. I still think that it all looked pretty good, even though I guess people don't. The idea of starting a movie with a big action scene, right, is to get people engaged, to get the idiots engaged that don't care about the story because big flashy things are happening. They already did that. And then they did it again, but much more longer and with much less stakes, where it's just like Misato and these new characters kind of struggling against something. At least in the first one, it's Mari and Asuka. And like those are 2 characters you probably like, saving presumably Shinji, a character we very much care about the trajectory of. And here it's just like a ship that they're trying to launch, and there's a big struggle for it, and it's just like, what? At certain points you're just like, what am I watching? And it's sort of like, we need more incentive to care here. I guess maybe on a second watch it could be interesting, just knowing where it's going. I don't know. I was not liking the movie at that point. Shinji being bummed he can't pilot the Ava now, and that his sync ratio is 0%, which I think might have been a lie just so he wouldn't do it, or maybe he just can't pilot Unit 1. I was for sure I remembered him piloting Unit 1 in this movie, but it's just that Unit 13 kind of looks like Unit 1. I assume he's going to pilot Ava Unit 1 in the 4th one, because it's already at its like godhood state, and that's where it gets at the end of Ava, and if we're going in the same direction, then and my theory about these part things being true, then that has to happen. Well, he wants to help is an interesting change for his character. Just the part that Shinji wants to pilot the Eva now but isn't being allowed to. It's just like, haha, isn't this the opposite of what's always happening? And it's interesting that Shinji is very depressed that he can't pilot, because he basically found out at the end of the second movie that if he doesn't pilot to help his friends, they're going to die. So it makes a lot of sense that now he wants to pilot to help Asuka, who he just found out is alive and is very happy to find out is alive, but nobody wants to let him pilot because they think he'll cause the fourth impact if he's allowed to pilot anything or something. Which actually does end up happening. So I guess they were right to mistrust him at the beginning, because he takes those fucking lances out after everybody tells him not to. Thanks to Ritsuko for literally explaining the symbolism by word of the thing around Shinji's neck. Much appreciated, Chief. This was, like, hilariously bad. Like, Ritsuko's line is literally, this thing around your neck is the symbolism of us, our distrust for you and your sins or something. And it's like, thanks, Chief. Thanks. This has been a thing all throughout the movies. They feel a need to clarify things because they need to establish things quickly. It's like, we don't have time to subtly hint at this stuff. You got to know this. And it's like, yes, we got it. But whatever. Okay, so the Colonel is Misato. It was very clear how she now rejects what she did at the end of the second movie, where she cheered Shinji on, since now she thinks whatever her mission is more important than any individual person. We already talked about this. This is why she acts like she's willing to kill Shinji, even though I remember she gets the chance to right before he escapes and doesn't. Obviously, this is a front to try and act tough, like Asuka being mean. Asuka does seem slightly different, I guess, not as loud, though her punching the glass and her speech was cringe. That scene was not the best either. And it comes down to this thing of just, like, talk to him, for fuck's sake. Just tell him what happened. Obviously, we can't know what happened because otherwise the movie falls apart and Shinji's motivation throughout the movie falls apart. It's kind of a weakness of the movie. Also, obviously, it makes no sense why they don't just explain things to Shinji, but now they are saying Ryanami doesn't exist anymore. Shinji is sure he saved her, but the Walkman was saved, and he gets it back. They give him the Walkman back. At least it isn't a dropped plot line. We are referencing it and acknowledging that the second movie happened, so maybe it isn't all a big retcon. My big fear going into this movie, especially after seeing the preview at the end of the second movie and how that isn't what the third movie was, is that they would just drop a lot of the stuff that I really liked from the second movie. But they are referencing that Rey. Now, Miller also spoiled that Rey is not in the fourth movie. So I'm hoping that he's wrong, or she is in it and just in, like, one of the dream state things. The second Rey died in the original, and now it died again in this one. It's kind of a big part of Shinji's arc, so I guess I'm fine with it happening. Though the build-up and the struggle at the end of the second one, I don't think it's lessened, really. It's just sort of like something else happened there, and that needs an explanation. We'll see how it's all resolved in the fourth movie. But if Miller hadn't said that, I'd be like, yep, the second Rey is going to show up in this one, in the movie coming up. But I don't know, maybe he was fucking with me. There was something else I wanted to stop and talk about more. But them vaguely saying Grey Iron Army doesn't exist anymore when he can clearly, and they can all hear a Rey talking, like, and presumably they know about the clone stuff. They could just say, Shinji, the Rey you knew is dead. This is a different Rey. There's cloning and shit. Stay here. Like, you could at least try to explain that. Now, obviously, you need the cool scene where Fuyutsuki does that instead later on. But it's like, Mari is immediately teasing Asuka about how she secretly likes Shinji and wanted to see him, but she's adamant that she's actually really mad at him. The confrontation with the Unit Zero. They keep calling Unit Zero the vessel of atoms, is in plural, which chat would already talk to me about how atom is like 4 things or something. I assume this is a bigger point in the fourth movie. I know, it's weird, and there was a weird thing where it had, like, long hair, and then it turned into, like, a thruster thing to propel it away from the ship. I don't know. Avas have never really, like, manifested into machinery from their, like, organic stuff, right? I don't know. I felt that was a little off, but whatever. It's not a big deal. Shinji and Misato are acting like dumb anime characters, though. There is a point in this movie where Shinji is being so stupid, and like the audience has figured this out, and the whole point is that Shinji and we are supposed to have the same amount of information. It's like, Shinji, you really need to figure out that this probably isn't the same Rei, and that you probably caused the third impact, and that's why, or at least people think you did that, and that's why they're mad at you. Like, by implication, everyone in the audience knows this had happened. It's like, Shinji, catch the fuck up. And Misato's just being dumb because she's not explaining anything to him. One of the title screens for this movie calls this movie Q, so I guess that didn't entirely get dropped either. At the end of the preview in the second movie, it ends with being like the next Evangelion Q or whatever. And at the end of this one, it has like a music symbol. And it's not 3.0 plus 1.0 thrice upon a time. But then the second, because there are two title screens in this movie. There's the one that says this is Q, and that's after the first half an hour, so it would imply that the second half an hour is the Q part, and then the last half an hour is the 3.33 part. We'll see if like the first part of the next movie is the music sign thing, and then the next part is 3.0 plus 1.0 thrice upon a time or whatever. I still like the Ava title screens. They're cool as fuck. Let me catch up on chat real quick. I feel like Misato and Ritsuko get the most cut in the rebuilds. Well, they had a bunch of extra scenes together, so their relationship certainly doesn't get cut, but individually their characters, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't even know how to counter that. Like, I guess because the Ritsuko Gendo stuff isn't there. That's like cut Ritsuko stuff, and there's obviously not that whole episode about Ritsuko and the mother and stuff like that. So maybe for Ritsuko. I feel like Misato's in it a whole lot, especially in the first movie. In the second one too, I don't know. I agree with them being the same characters, so I'm not bothered in the stuff if stuff from the original isn't shown. These are two completely different fucking things. I'm not like waiting for them to redo all my favorite scenes. Doesn't matter to me at all. Stabbing an Ava doesn't mean you want to kill the person though, right? But she also says it. It's like, there's a point where I even got scared even though I knew that these characters didn't die. At the beginning when they're all fighting each other, where it's like legitimately scary because they are kind of fucking each other up. And I'm like, is somebody going to die here? Like, I'm scared kind of for Rei 3. And a bunch of stuff. And especially Asuka, because the movies especially like to beat up Asuka. The original series likes to beat up Asuka a lot too. So they are fighting each other like pretty relentlessly. So it was like, she might legitimately be trying to kill him. Now it's probably, I think it plays into the thing that she's trying to project that she's trying to kill him because she actually likes him because she saves him at the end of the movie, of course. She goes out of her way to go and find him and wherever he is and helps them. Asuka being like the mother of the two of them at the end is great. And it does show that she has grown up in the last 14 years where she's like trying to help Shinji out and dragging. She's kind of in the Misato role from End of Ava with Shinji instead of when she's passed out and getting jerked off over the top of at the beginning of the fourth part of this Shinji journey we're talking about in the original series. I'm kind of down for it because Rei is very much not a person really. She's starting to become one. But yeah, it's Asuka is in a different role here and I like it. I don't like it more or anything. I just like that, like, it's consistent. 14 years have passed. She's kind of the mother in this situation, and it's kind of cute. Asuka as a mother fits. When she's being genuine and she's forced to actually confront what she feels. I hate the designs of those 3.0 angel thingos. I have no idea what you're talking about. So at the start, they are fighting angels or Avas made by Nerve. I forget, they kind of are the same, I guess. I have no idea what they were fighting. The ship is definitely fighting Nerve, I'm pretty sure. Though, it might just be that Rei shows up to take advantage of the fact that they're fighting angel things. They imply that Karu dying is the death of the last angel at the end of the movie. So they haven't, like, on screen, they haven't killed all of them. So maybe in the last 14 years they've killed them. Why would the angel attacks stop? I don't know. I'm not sure about all that stuff. I don't have it all straight. Maybe they just really wanted to launch the ship, just for rule of cool. Well, that's almost certainly what it was. It's just, I don't care about that at all. It's weird. The ship seems to be big and imposing. You'd think it's not very movable, but the movie depicts it as lightweight with the spinning, a worse helicarrier. I definitely got S.H.I.E.L.D. vibes from it. The only part of it that I thought was really cool was the fact that it has like some gravity shit that made all the ships float along with it. That was the first part, and that's like the last shot of that sequence, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. My fucking phone just lost 20% of fucking battery in like 3 seconds, and now it's down to 9%. Fuck this shitty fucking 7-year-old phone. Sure would be weird if 3 films in a row start with a Mari action scene. Well, the first one doesn't. Oh, well then, yeah, it would be 3. But I'm pretty sure I watched a bit of the first scene of the rebuild thing. I saw that it was a big action scene, but... what a nice person went out of their way to even explain things for the audience who enjoys flashy things, meaning me. I don't remember ever thinking anything was retconned. Well, I thought that was the implication, right? That they retconned the whole ending of 2.0 to do a completely different thing in 3.0. Don't listen to what I say. At what point did Ava stop needing to be plugged into stuff or run on timeless? I forget when that stopped. I don't know. Again, I'm not too into the science shit around the Ava. But in this movie, Mari is shooting down to Asuka in the last fight a bunch of re-ups, a bunch of batteries, because she's just sitting up there sniping and she's chucking down batteries. So Unit 2 needs that stuff. Avas can always go berserk, and then the organic side of them takes over, and they can fight for as long as they want, right? That's what happens in episode 1. Well, I guess it's episode 2 they show it. I think it's definitely implied that Unit 13 is like organic or something, and it doesn't need power. But I don't know exactly when it all stops, but it is all over the place with that stuff. What about Ava 5.0 coming 2030? Miller told me that it seems like a legit, like a definite end. So I don't think we're getting 4.0. Will Studio Kara make other things? I presume it will, right? Is Anno going to make something new? Is he going to make a series or something? That'd be interesting to see, though, we're as far away from that as we ever will be, because they literally just finished a fucking 9-year production on this movie, so... everything is bloodstained, which almost makes sense, like the floors being painted red, but the theme then continues with Seilei's new projectors weird. I thought that was lame for a second, but then it's implied that they're like not on, so it could just be the leftover blood from the big explosion at the end of the second one, so it kind of makes sense. Or the third impact, I guess. And Rei and Shinji scene was almost cute. If it's obvious to everybody but Shinji that this is a new Rei. This Rei is very much given one-word answers. We're at the very early stages of Rei here. And seeing Shinji, like, try and bring up old memories with her when they're not her memories, it's cute. It's like Rei playing off of that is cute. Seilei is not talking to Gendo, it seems, and something is for Yui's sake. Oh yeah, they reveal here that Seilei doesn't talk to Gendo anymore. Though the one dude, the main Seilei dude, does talk to him before he turns all their projectors off. And Gendo's talking about rewriting Seilei's plan, which is the same in the original series. It's just that Seilei like overpowers him in the end of Ava. So, I don't think we're going to be seeing the private military stuff from End of Ava in the 4th movie. The one thing I saw, because I've been thinking about this a lot, because I downloaded the torrent for the 4th movie that Miller sent me. I clicked on it when it was finished, and I skipped to like an hour in just to see if the picture quality was good. And there was one shot. The one shot I saw was like a bunch of people like underground or something. So other people must exist, which is just something that's clicked in my head. Like, what's going on there? It was like them all relaxing in like a traditional Japanese home or something. I don't know. That popped into my mind. I was like, that's poignant. I don't remember what we were talking about before that though. I guess we're talking about where like the rest of Seilei is or whatever. Or that we're going to see other normal people. This might be what Miller was talking about how the time skip is more interesting in the 4th film, because maybe we see other survivors or something. I assume there has to be. It's not just everybody that was in the Nerve HQ they're not like the only people that survived or whatever. And something is for Yui's sake. I don't remember this. Oh, Fuyutsuki says this line. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Fuyutsuki is definitely looking older. His character design was looking older, obviously. He's kind of an old man already, and it's been 14 years, so. Alright, the piano playing scene fan service with Karu was great. He fixed Shinji's Walkman, it's cute. Shinji is wearing Suzuharu's shirt, which is interesting, don't remember that at all. I don't know if the implication is that Suzuharu used to live here too and he got killed or something because Gendo was being a prick, or if it's just like Suzuharu died when the third impact happened and they're like rationing shirts that they could find, and they could find his shirt. That is never followed up upon in this movie. I assume it will be in the next one, though maybe not. It's just like a little mini freak out that Shinji has. It's kind of terrifying. But he doesn't really think about it again afterwards. But obviously there's reference with his sister, so it would seem that Suzuharu is going to pop up at some point. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, but that's also something I didn't remember at all. The piano playing stuff, I think somebody in chat last night told me, like, yeah, fuck you, the piano stuff is Kino. And I was like, maybe it is. Maybe I'm shit-talking the piano stuff. It was really cool. There was some cool imagery surrounding it. They had fucking horses running on the notes and shit like that. It was cool. So there's this bloke called Lilin or something. Shinji did actually cause the third impact. Karu was given a speech to Shinji. I think this is when he's showing him, like, the effects of what happened, and he's showing him, like, the world all red. And he says Shinji did cause the third impact. Karu says there's no unforgivable sin. Instrumentality, he says a few times. Shinji doesn't want to take personal responsibility that a selfish action on his part led to this. I don't know. So this makes a lot more sense in retrospect. I now know that Lilin is just humanity. I'm pretty sure that's in the original series. I'd just forgotten. And Karu has a line later about Lilin feared me or whatever, so they created this collar. It's the whole thing about humanity and the angels. Even though humanity is an angel, it's, we've gone over this fucking shit before. My hope is that Karu does One Punch Man or something. What else is going to fund their antics at Disney Star Wars? Let's try to have them not do an adaptation and just do something cool and new. How about that? I think Anno had a comment about wanting Ava becoming a franchise like Gundam. I think the implication there is different casts or different timelines. I mean, you could just do another version, or somebody else could do it where it's the same characters just in different situations, as long as the characters feel right. I feel like it's like a perfect formula. I just feel like when people try to do that or whatever, they always fuck up the characters. I don't know. I don't know, have him create a fucking new thing. He's created a million things before Ava, right? Kyle spoiling himself, shake my head. 3.0 does ass when it comes to communicating the world building. No slice of life. Oh yeah, I did say that. There is much more limited slice of life. Like in the second movie, there's a shit ton. In the first movie, there's a shit ton. As I hear, there's more in the fourth one too. This definitely has the least amount of slice of life, but there we go. But I think Anno won't be working on whatever is next for Ava. I thought that was his thing, that this was the end. He's making Shin Ultraman and Kamen Rider. Yes, I did hear in the Pokemon thingies from the Weeb Club Krasdorf talking about that. But yeah, I guess Studio Kara, because the Fooly Cooley guy, right, is also, he's like co-director on all these films. And he can fucking direct whatever they do next or whatever. I'm sure these movies make a fucking mega ton of money, so I don't think they need much funding. I feel like Anu could say, give me this much money, and they're going to be like, yes, sir. But again, maybe he's doing something else. Unless Studio Kara is working on the Shin Ultraman thing or whatever. There's a making of Evangelion documentary on Amazon Prime. Are you going to watch that? I mean, I don't have Amazon Prime, but if I can watch it someplace else, I guess. I mean, that sounds like yes, I would want to watch that. Is it like an old documentary or a new documentary, or is it a making specifically of the newest movie? I don't know. Somebody tell me about that later. Ray 3, if that's what we're calling her, is seeing Ray 2. There is a scene where she's in the Ray Vault thing getting rejuiced or whatever, and she sees an image of Ray 2. The Rays are all connected in some sort of way. This happens in the original series when one of the angels attacks, and there's the great scene of Ray like half submerged and then the Ray not submerged, and the fucking coloring there is so good. the original series. What a 10 out of 10. But yeah, so this is just a continuation of that. Ray 3 learning about Ray 2 is always fun, because Ray 2, the best. What can we say? Ray 3, I'm not a doll, the best. Ray 1, kind of creepy little girl. Kind of glad she got strangled to death and stuff. But whatever. At least a Ray in a school uniform. Well, if it wasn't Ray 2, she was in a school uniform, which implied that's like the Ray 2 garb. Ray 3 is the plug suit, and then Ray 1 is, I guess, the little girl school uniform. She's not reading her books. Shinji still doesn't know about the whole cloning thing. Yes. Shinji still hasn't figured out the Ray stuff. I'm gonna get through these fucking tweets. I feel like I've already said most of this stuff. The much-anticipated Fuyutsuki conversation has happened. Oh, this is also an infamous scene from the movie because everybody makes fun of the mind scrubbing thing. Shinji is shown a photo of his mother. Yui has longer hair than I've ever seen her with, and it looks like Mari is in the photo. Shinji thinks she looks like Rei, of course, which is an opportunity for Fuyutsuki to say, hey, Rei's a clone of your mother, Lamau. First of all, according to the Evangelion manga, or at least the maybe fake spoilers I've heard about the Evangelion manga, Yui and Mari are friends in college or something. And there's like a mystery of how Mari is still 16 or whatever, or however old she's supposed to be, or if that's supposed to be Mari's mother or something. But there's a character that looks like Mari in this picture. She's kind of like obfuscated because she's on the corner, but she has glasses on. And I wonder if that's a reference to that, and if that comes back in 4.0, we'll see. The picture is very cute. Shinji is very cute in it. I like the picture a lot. He then says that Yui's maiden name was Yui Ayanami. I looked it up to see if I was remembering the original series wrong, but no, I think this is new to the rebuilds. I like the characterization of Gendo. I liked the characterization that Gendo took Yui's name when they got married, but I guess his last name was always Akari in the rebuilds. Also, I think the wiki page, it says that Yui was the daughter of a prominent member of Seilei. Kind of weird. The more you know, I guess. I still don't know how I feel about that. I can't remember if we talked about that at the beginning of the video or at the beginning of stream, and the video didn't. We haven't talked about that in the video yet. I'm gonna assume that we did talk about that because I don't want to go over it all again. On the wiki page, it just outrightly says that yes, this was a change, and it's by implication the change is that Gendo's last name it starts with an R. It's a Japanese name not even I can say, and I can say all the Japanese names because of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But apparently his name was just always Akari, and Yui's was Ayanami. I'm not sure about this change. Again, we changed Asuka's name as well. I'm sure there's some sort of point to this. I don't know what it is yet. But yes, Gendo being like the ultimate kind of simp for Yui and taking his last name and everything is fucking sick, and I love it a lot. Based, relatable. And I always liked that as characterization, but now it's not the same for the rebuild films. I'm not sure why, but hold on, let me take a drink here. My neck is fucking killing me. I'm probably going to go to sleep after this, and that this fourth movie will have to wait till tomorrow. So Fuyutsuki just lays everything on the table, tells about Yuri being in Unit 1, that Rei is a clone of her, that there's a whole bunch of Reis, how she died, and even says that Gendo is sacrificing everything to get her back, plus it's mentioned that Rei 2 is inside of Ava 1. Just like Yui, which is neat, I guess. That's where she is, and it's necessary for Gendo's plan somehow. I like that Rei is now being mirrored with Yui, both being in Unit 1, both being incredibly important and comforting to Shinji. If we have some sort of end of Ava existential scene, like we do where Yui gives her speech at it's at the end of Ava. Best scene ever. Maybe Rei 2 will be there too. The mind scrubbing shit is stupid. Maybe it'll come back somehow to make it not stupid. That is a criticism I've always had of this movie that I think carries over. Like, in the series, there's like multiple explanations for why Shinji doesn't remember seeing his mother die. They also, in the movie, do show like it happening. In the original series, you don't see it happen. You just see Shinji's reaction and Gendo's reaction and Ritsuko's mother's reaction, I think. Yes, because Rei only shows up after Yui's dead, so she's definitely still alive. And you see, like, little baby Shinji, like, not understanding or whatever. And, like, the fucking... Shinji's probably, like, 3 when this happens, or maybe younger, maybe even 2. But, like, the implication is either he got traumatized by this and doesn't remember it, or he was just too young and he doesn't remember it. And now to tack on this, we had to erase his memory stuff seems just unnecessary, and, like, we're adding dumb sci-fi elements to seem cool. I don't know how I feel about it. Actually, I do know. Not good. Shinji's freaking out, knowing that he caused the third impact and didn't even save Rei. This walking shot from behind of him is great. Him hearing the repeating lines, like the original series, is super good. I really did like this shot a lot, where it's like, it starts with Shinji from the back, and it's like, what's the thing? Is it in Naruto? Or is it in One Piece? Or is it in DBZ? Or is it in all of them? The attack, I guess it's the after image? Where it's doing that sort of effect for Shinji as he's, like, stumbling, and it looks like he's about to have a panic attack and he's drunk. And then he starts hearing all of the lines from the film in his head. I love all that directorial stuff from the original series. You can't do that with modern animation because of the Pokemon thing, and you can't have the flashing match cut stuff that the original series has. That is fucking the greatest visual stuff I ever saw in my being life. And obviously the movie can't have it, but this is the closest we can get to it, which is just repeating audio lines. There is a point earlier in the film where they do, like, have 5 match cut shots of people speaking directly into the camera thing. That was about as close as we're ever going to get to that again. Fucking Porygon, blowing shit up and giving kids seizures. But yes, all that directorially was really cool. I think if you break down the original series into parts, the rebuild fits... Oh, I already talked about all this stuff. We still have a bunch to go. I thought we were coming to the end here. So I already talked about all of this. About the 4-part theory. The scream as Shinji throws the Walkman across the room might be the second best Shinji scream I've ever heard. Terrifying stuff. I think I'd paused something. I think I'd paused it to write a tweet, and then I played it again, and it immediately started with the fucking scream and him throwing the Walkman. It was pretty nifty stuff. That was some good shit. Shinji VA can scream. We all know this, but there you go. Gendo has completed the final Evangelion he needs for his plan, I guess. Did I just see an Ava being birthed? It's, like, pulled out of this liquid stuff. I assume this was Unit 13. I thought it maybe was something else. But he was very happy with himself. So there's 3 spears and 2 are in Dogma, because there were 3 spears shown in the Misato flashback, and 2 of them are in Dogma, like Central Dogma. That's the Ava graveyard place now. And 2 of them are stuck in Lilith. So Karu says, if we can save the world, if we go and get the 2 of them together. I guess he was told this by Gendo, because part of Gendo's plan is for Shinji to do this. Karu also has a line where he calls Gendo the king of Lilin. So Gendo is the king of humanity, which was kind of based. And he also says something like your father, not my father. So at the end of the first movie or at the beginning of the second movie, he, like, implies that Gendo is his father. That wasn't reiterated upon here. So he specifically said, like, not that. So I don't know what that was all about. Shinji and... Oh, no. Hold on. So there are and now we are talking about the 4th impact, Shinji. I guess the 3rd impact isn't bigger than the 2nd impact. It's just the 2nd time an impact has happened. So the 4th impact isn't, like, the even bigger version. It's just it again, I guess. Which implies that maybe the 3rd impact in End of Ava didn't kill everybody? I don't know. Yes, if they use Unit 13 and the spears. Also, him being mean to Rei 3 and saying she's not real and how he doesn't want her on the mission. Yeah, Shinji's being a prick at this point. This is when he's in max, like, annoying Shinji mode. He's, like, shit-talking Rei, and Rei can hear her, and they're in the Ava together, but Rei's right next to him, and he says, like, she's not even Ayanami anyway, or something. It's really edgy and sad. And little 3rd Rei ain't done nothing wrong. But Shinji's being a prick here. Obviously, it's a lot of this is Shinji. Shinji doesn't like overcome things at the end of this movie and like save the day. This is very much like Shinji is mean and then he is sad because Kaoru is dead. And it's like, Shinji, you need to get your shit together. And that's what End of Ava is about. And that's what the fourth movie, I presume, is going to be about. Well, I didn't even want to stop. Then I didn't tweet for a while because I watched the whole last third of the movie and didn't tweet a single thing. I was entranced, right? It's great stuff, I'm telling you. Well, I didn't want to stop watching the last 30 minutes to tweet, so that has to mean something good, right? I think the movie is pretty great in parts. I honestly have no idea how I'd rate it. There was a shit ton of little details that I should have noted down in the finale. I think I've covered most of them as we've gone through this, that I didn't get the chance to. Hopefully chat can pick up on some of these, can pick up on some of the slack. Kaoru had to figure out he was the last angel. These are some of the talking points. So Kaoru has like this 5-minute period where he's just got his hand on his chin. He's trying to figure out what's happening. And I think what happened is that Kaoru thought he was the first angel, so he thought he was Adam, and that he could, maybe he's one of the 4 bits of Adam that chat was telling me about. And so he thought if he in the Ava picked up the spears, he could like save everybody, but then he figured out that he was the last angel and he had to die. So that's why he like let himself die or whatever. Sele is dead or something. Something's happening there. The lances were the same. That's another big thing that Kaoru was talking about that I don't entirely understand the implications of. We'll have to talk about all this. So there are all my tweets. Not as many tweets, thank God, as the last one. We need to talk about some of the stuff in the finale. All the action was really good. I liked it a lot. Asuka presumably sacrifices Unit 2, and in the preview for the next one at the end after the credits, it had like half of Unit 2, half of Unit 8 fighting. That was the only thing in the preview, really. So yeah, Asuka being willing to sacrifice Unit 2 in order to like stop Rey and stuff like that. And she even tells Rey to do whatever she wants to do, and then she ejects herself. And then quickly after, Asuka also has to eject herself for the self-destruct thing. So it makes sense why they would like land in similar places, and they sort of like have a moment of connection there. That's why they're hanging out at the end, even though they're on opposite sides of the conflict. That's all cute stuff. Mari doing all the sniping stuff was really cool. I liked that as while Asuka was on the ground doing all the fighting. Rey with the scythe I actually did think was pretty cool. There's fucking other stuff, but I've forgotten some of it. We'll look at chat in a second. If we go to the end here. Kaoru had to figure out he was the lost angel. Sele is dead or something. The lances were the same. Fuck, I know I had more to say about something. Well, let me catch up on chat real quick. There's an Evangelion documentary. I read that one. The newest movie, I think. The creation of the newest movie. For the new movie. Oh, I wish we were getting the history of like when he was working on episode 16, he had this idea or something. He as if it's one person. It focuses on Anno and how he directs. That would be fun. Somewhat correct. I wonder if Rey 2 and Yui can have conversations inside Unit 1. I mean, only to Shinji, I'm guessing. The impacts in the rebuilds, it's their souls that are in there, right? Their spirits. The impacts in the rebuilds each serve different purposes than the original, I think. Maybe that's true. I'll have to see. So what did you like about the ending? Sounds like you were just confused. I mean, it was all sick. Asuka fighting shit was sick. Her and Mari's interactions were sick. Rey slowly figuring things out. I thought Kaoru slowly figuring things out was cool. Shinji being a prick was cool. Misato and the ship showing up and like attacking things and then cutting back to Gendo. There's like a moment where Gendo and Fuyutsuki, and then they cut to Ritsuko and Misato, and they both sort of have this like, we didn't get everything we wanted out of that final conflict, but we're in good positions. So it's just sort of like they both think they're in the lead here in whatever battle they're doing. There's a bunch of other stuff. I should have taken notes because I can't remember the specifics of the stuff I liked, but I liked a lot of it. The thing I wanted to talk about, that I mentioned there that I forgot, was the neck thing. I've heard people complain about in the story about Kaoru takes the neck thing off Shinji. Why doesn't he just throw it away instead of, and why does he put it on himself? Well, firstly, this is my response to this criticism. I remember this in the Plebe and Weeb episode, and I remember always thinking this myself. Firstly, it's because he's taking Shinji's burden. He's taking humanity's burden onto himself. He says he'll take Lillian's burden. So he's like showing how much he cares about Shinji by saying like, I'll take this fucking burden. I don't give a fuck. Because obviously we have it blatantly stated to us at the beginning that this is the symbolism of all of Shinji's sins. The Jesus parallel is coming in more. He's taking all of Shinji's sin away from him, all of humanity's sin away from him, and then he dies for it later. I just put that Jesus meme together just now. I'm a god. I'm a genius. But anyway. So it's him like doing a good gesture to Shinji and saying he doesn't care, and then later he has to die. So it's part of that where he's like he's not like freaking out as he dies, like what an idiot. Why didn't I just take it off? It's like he's very clearly knows that he should die because he's one of the last angels, and this whole thing will shut down, and the fourth impact will be avoided if he dies. It seems Gendo was always trying to kill him too. Like he says, we finally got rid of Seilei's boy or whatever at the end to Fuyutsuki. So the collar stuff makes sense too. That was just something I wanted to clear up. Can anybody tell me what else happens in the finale that I can remember and see if that was some of the stuff I really liked or not? I'm looking at chat. So what do you like about it? Why does the neck thing go off again? Explode, I mean, because trauma? Wait, why does it go off? Because I feel like there is an explanation for this, but I just can't remember it. I think it's just in range and Misato presses it, right? Because they only have to take out one of the pilots, but then they actually do have to take out both of the pilots because they say, like, Mari has a pet name for Shinji. I think it might actually... No, it's Pups. P-U-P-S. And he's like, so Pups was... She's like, so Pups was Seilei's backup plan. Because the fourth impact still continues even after Kaoru's killed himself, but it's just Shinji has to eject himself. And I can't remember if he does it or if somebody makes him do it. If Mari does it. Because Rain asks are already out of there by that point. Man, I should have taken notes on this fucking finale. Dog Cat Asuka happens, right? Oh yeah, that was fine. It was like 3 seconds. From my memory, it happened in the I didn't remember any of the finale, basically. I thought it all ended in the, like, Ava graveyard place, but there's, like, a whole fight on the surface afterwards. It happens for, like, 2 seconds. It's just kind of an extension of what happened last movie. It doesn't even look bad. It's cool. It has to attack the vessel of atoms or whatever, the super powered up unit 00. So it like makes sense why she had to power up and things like that. I liked it. Misato wanted to kill Shinji. I don't know. It doesn't feel right that Misato pressed it. So I don't think that's what happened. I can't remember why. I don't know if I like that. That's definitely not what happened. I feel like I would definitely remember if that happened, especially when the earlier plot point is he doesn't. And Misato even has a moment in the climax where instead of saying Shinji Ikari-kun, she just says Shinji-kun. And it's like, oh, she's like trying to, like, she like feels, she's letting the feeling out again. She's allowing herself to be worried for him. So that's definitely not what happened. I feel like there is a lot of shit I'm forgetting to talk about in the finale of this movie, and I remember liking, like, all of it. I don't think I had, like, a problem with any of it. But I don't know if chat can help me out either, because you probably all watched this movie ages ago. How long have we been streaming? This has probably been about nearly an hour. Do we have anything else to say about it? I feel... Do I feel that? Or do I just feel 4 stars? I feel like I'm more comfortable doing the 4 star stuff. Aren't there comments for this thing? Maybe we can get a thing from that. Miller hasn't rated it. Krastorf gave it 3 stars. It's quite simple, really. Get in the robot when they tell you to. Don't get in the robot when they tell you not to. Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck this person is talking about. It is... I guess I do know what he's talking about. It's kind of is funny that Shinji... like Misato is kind of proven right at the end. Like, Shinji shouldn't get in the robot because he is going to fuck it up. But he only fucks it up because they didn't talk to her, so it's partly her fault. Is it better than the first one? I the best parts of it are definitely better. Like, that whole last half, I would say, is about 5 stars. Half of the first half is like 2.5 stars, barely manageable. There is some okay characterization stuff in there at the beginning. But, like, there's that boring 15-minute fucking launch scene. But all that is boring. It's not, like, bad or anything. The only thing I don't really like about the movie that isn't just because it's boring is the mind wipe stuff. Because I just think it's unnecessary. But it could be proven necessary later. I was uncredited, but I actually edited the piano montage in the middle of the movie using Windows Movie Maker and a rainbow filter in After Effects. I think this is supposed to be a gag on it saying that it looks bad. These reviews don't seem too good. No, too interesting, rather. If I want to watch the start of Evangelion, I'd watch this series. At least this movie is new. Well, the fucking first movie was new in a bunch of different ways. So, fuck Miller. But, I fucking don't know. What was destroyed cannot be rebuilt. 14 years after the second impact, Shinji Ikari wakes up to a world he does not remember. He hasn't aged. Much of Earth is laid in ruins. Never has been dismantled. Well, there you go. And people who he once protected have turned against him, befriending the enigmatic Karu. I have no idea how to say Karu's last name. Shinji continues to fight against the angels. Does he? And realizes the fighting is far from over. Even when it could be against his former allies, the character's struggles continue amidst the battle against the angels and each other, spiraling down to what could inevitably be the end of the world. So I guess a bunch of the stuff, like the stuff in space and the stuff that Misato fights at the beginning, is the angels. Shinji does outrightly say in the movie, like, why are we fighting each other instead of the angels? So, but he might not know if the angels is still a threat or not. Him finding the books, the Ray's little home is, I like all that stuff. I'm just trying to think of stuff from the movie to talk about. Well, if you like the Berserk film, I was mostly just bored. Makes sense. Well, I like all the... Yeah, the Berserk movies are good. Miller knows it. He's just a coward. Do you think it's redundant having 2 films in a row end with an impact? I mean, I guess neither one of them ended with an impact. Only at the beginning of the third one do they try to say the second one ended with an impact, and and this one is negated, right? So... Unless you're telling me at the beginning of the 4th movie they say that the impact went through here. But I don't know. I don't think it's redundant just because, like, the plot ends up in the same place if all the events leading up to it are different and the characters have changed and all that stuff. But I don't even know what I would write in a review of this. I don't know. Does Chad have anything to say? Nagisa? I don't know. Let me just not try and say it, huh? No, it's negated. You're right. Well, yeah. It didn't happen. I wish I had better notes about the finale. I wish we could talk about it more. I feel like I have left some things unsaid. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment about a little moment if you want to know what I thought about it. I doubt most of you made it this far. I'm interested to see. I still haven't uploaded even the first Ava Rebuild review on the second channel yet, so I don't know how they're going to do views-wise. I hope, like, there's at least a little bit of engagement. Especially more than the Boardwalk ones, which has, after like 3 hours, 6 views, because nobody has seen Boardwalk Empire. That's a whole different story. We're on to the 4th movie in a second. I'm trying to do my outro, but I see Android has said something, so you were pretty close. 2.0 works with Shinji completes an arc, so 3.0 is stuck with an MC who's finished his arc. I don't think that's true at all. Time to make him depressed again, then a la-di-da. 4.0 is great. Summary, Shinji suffering makes good content. Is Shinji the most unlikable here? I never find Shinji unlikable in the original series. A little bit in the end of Ava. But one of the moments that I thought he was annoying in the end of Ava, I just had got wrong because he can't get to the Ava unit because it's like frozen over with the blood thing. I think I watched a video on that once, and that was what was like, oh, He wasn't just sitting right outside of Ava Unit 001 being a bitch still after he had decided to not be a bitch. It was he literally couldn't do it because there was stuff in there, and then the unit breaks out itself, and Shinji gets in the robot. But at the beginning of End of Ava, where like Misato's literally dragging him by the hand as he won't even use his legs, that's kind of annoying Shinji stuff, but you're supposed to be annoyed with him here. Outside of that, in the original series, I never find Shinji annoying, but in this movie, he definitely is like intentionally annoying again. I guess at the end of 2.0, he's annoying too. But I don't think any of this is makes the movie bad or anything. It's all intentional. Yeah, he's the best character in the original. That's impeccably not true. But everybody knows my thoughts on that. Shinji, is he even third? Is Misato third? Because we're obviously saying that it goes Asuka, Rei, then maybe Misato, then Shinji. Wasn't my Evangelion tier list just everybody in S tier? Like, wasn't Toji even in S tier? Kensuke might have been in, like, C tier or something. They're all so good. But anyway, the fourth rebuild film, rather. I've got to go watch it. I probably won't do it now because I've got a headache. So I'll probably do it tomorrow and then we'll stream. I don't know when tomorrow. It'll depend when I watch the movie. I might just save it for like the normal 8:30 p.m. my time, start time, because it'll probably get the most viewers. If you're here in chat, you're going to want to be here tomorrow. Tell your friends, tell everybody be here tomorrow. I would tell the YouTube audience to be here tomorrow, but that'll be too late. If you're a YouTube audience, wait in anticipation on the YouTube channel, or I guess you could watch like the Twitch VOD or something. But I think we're done here. Shinji and Misato are the top two for sure. Miller is cringe, as always. Kensuke and Toji, new S tiers after 4.0. Well, I guess that's a spoiler. Apparently they're in it somehow. But, yes. 4.0 will be out soon. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what I think. There seems to be generally positive reviews of it. Now that I like all of these movies, I couldn't see myself disliking this one. Though maybe it'll happen. With that being said, I think we're going to end things off. I wish I said more about the finale. Ask me in the comments section if you want anything clarified. Support links in the description below. Thanks.